Good morning. I'm glad you have joined the Buncombe Baptist Association during our month-long May presentation of reopening. We're glad that you have joined us this month, and each week we're inviting in two pastors who serve here in Buncombe County because we wanted you to hear from pastors in their local context, because we're all very relational here in Buncombe County. You're going to be hearing this week, 4 days, Monday through Thursday at noon each day, from Pastor Dennis Thurman, the senior pastor at Pole Creek Baptist Church, and from Pastor Mark Caldwell, senior pastor at Turkey Creek Baptist Church. So I'm glad that these gentlemen have chosen to join us today. Hopefully you'll gain some ideas. Hopefully you'll gain some insight as to what your reopening should look like in your context. And so, Dennis, I'm glad you joined us today. Let me ask you, first of all, how are you and Marilyn doing and your family? How are y'all doing during the pandemic?
We're doing well, but we're pretty much fed up with having to be sequestered. And so on Mother's Day, we allowed our children and grandchildren to get together with us.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was healthy and nobody had a fever, so we enjoyed one another's company. But that'd been the first time really we had seen the crew in some amount of time.
Wow.
But we're doing okay.
Great. And so let's talk first of all about how you plan, or what you foresee that you can prepare your facilities for a reopening time, whenever that time comes.
Well, we've already, Perry, laid out a plan and talked with our custodian, and we're going to get a number of volunteers that we're going to start meeting with, because what we're looking at is based on the anticipation of those reduced numbers and the social distancing, of having at least 3 large venues: our auditorium, our Family Life Center, and then our fellowship hall, with an overflow area in what we call the powerhouse, which is our student center, which is a little bit smaller, but still fairly large. And so those will have to be cleaned, and if we're limited to 50 people, and so we've started with that plan. We're looking at having 2 different services in those 4 venues with an hour's time in between. So during the week, we'll have no activities, so we'll have everything cleaned and ready for a 9 o'clock worship time. Then the second worship hour will be at 11. And so in between, we're going to have teams of people cleaning and wiping off the back of pews and seats and all that sort of thing. So we'll have a series of meetings in the next couple of weeks leading up to that. We've purchased the disinfectants. We've purchased large quantities of that. We have masks for those who want to use those, and gloves and so forth. So as far as getting the facility prepared, we're capable of streaming. We'll have the screens in there. We'll have the sound systems set up and all that sort of thing, projecting the possibility of bringing 400 people on campus on a Sunday.
So you're talking about the possibility of 9 a.m., 11 a.m. with sufficient time to disinfect. Do you plan on possibly a team of volunteers to do the disinfecting, to be trained and do the disinfecting?
Right, because with that many people, with the logistics of this are going to be quite a nightmare.
Yeah.
So we're going to have people counting folks as they come in. We'll just have one way into the parking lot so that we can monitor how many people are in the vehicle. They'll be on radios talking to folks, getting everything ready. When we get the auditorium filled, they'll have a designated parking area there. Once that's full, then we'll start the next venue and keep on until we've got the max for that period of time.
Great.
But yeah, the volunteers will be absolutely crucial. We'll have to have a host of volunteers. Here's the great thing, and I hope folks will realize this, that you've got a lot of folks who've been volunteering in children's ministry or in choir that are extremely committed and gifted people, but that's their ministry. Well, those ministries right now are probably not going to restart, and so there's some great folks that can then step into a different role while we're in this period of time.
Great, fantastic. Every context in Buncombe County is different. And so some still do have a worship time on Sunday evening, but with all the work and effort and focus on the Sunday morning time. I don't see where that's an option at Pole Creek. Sunday evenings are not an option, as I think that it probably wouldn't be an option in most places that have to go to all the work to get things ready, safely ready for people.
Perry, I think maybe the only consideration I would say as far as a Sunday evening with the weather getting warmer is, and you probably anticipate a smaller turnout, is an outdoor meeting. If you have, like we have a pavilion area, a ball field with parking, and so say you had 50 to 100 people that want to come out for a Sunday evening, and it being a separate area outside, you would have to clean up. So I could see that it could be a possibility, and you might even have some folks that have a nice home with a large yard, go out and build a fire and gather around. So if you still want to do a Sunday evening, there are ways to do it. People just have to be creative.
Okay. Dennis, thank you for joining us today in session 1 on Monday, May the 18th. We're grateful that you've watched today. Good morning. We're delighted that you've joined us on Monday, May the 18th. Mark, thank you for joining us today. Mark is the pastor at Turkey Creek Baptist Church. So we just want to take a few moments to talk about some very common questions and let these gentlemen and their context give you responses, and hopefully it will help you down the road when you start thinking about reopening as the Lord allows us that opportunity. Mark, first of all, let me ask you how you and Lynn and the kids are doing.
Well, Harry, thank you for asking, but we are doing really well. God has really blessed us. During this time, I mean, we're all ready to go back to normal activities, but we have spent a lot of family time together. It's really been good for our family, just spending time together. And of course, we're all healthy and God's blessed us. And so thank you for asking.
Yeah. I know you have two high schoolers, right?
I do.
All right. Tell me how the homeschooling's going.
Well, I've expelled one.
Okay.
They're doing good.
Okay.
They really are. I've really been surprised at how they've adapted, and they just get up and get their work done in the morning, and they're ready to go during the rest of the day. So they're doing really well, and
Great.
Schools are doing a good job sending materials by way of Google.
Let's talk about church life for just a second. I know that you have good leaders around you there at Turkey Creek, and I know that you kind of drawn upon them. What do you perceive in your context that this reopening might look like at Turkey Creek?
Well, the reopening for us, we've really been meeting. We've met about 4 times with leadership, just trying to put together some plans where we're going. We will be doing our 5th parking lot service this Sunday, which has been really well. But I think people's, it's going to get warmer. Air conditions are needed, and people's ready to get back inside. And so we're looking at possibly maybe having 2 services, if need be, depending on numbers and what the regulations are. If not 2 services, we would love to go back into just a full service. And of course, that'll be on Sunday mornings only now. No Sunday nights for the rest of the year we know of, for sure. Sunday school will probably still continue on a Zoom meeting, Sunday school teachers teaching there, and then give them time to get to church for the worship service.
But let's just, for the sake of conversation, let's talk about that restricted number. You mentioned 2 services, and let's say that restricted number is 50 people. Talk to us about a time frame, disinfecting between services. What thought have y'all given to that in preparation?
Well, those 2 services, if we do 2 services, we'd try to do one at 9 and then one at 11, and obviously, sanitize the bathrooms, pews, and such as needed between the services. We know probably there's not going to be some seniors come. So if they limit us to 50 people, we could probably still meet and have 2 services in that.
Okay, thank you. How are you going to encourage social distancing?
Well, they've actually measured that off. Leadership has already looked at it. Families can sit together. Obviously, they ride in the car together there. But it's actually every other pew that we'd be able to use. And we do have an overflow area on the sides of the church that we could actually put a few in, and then also we looked at the choir as well, social distancing in the choir, and which would be every other chair. You can spread those out to where we can get 6 foot.
Okay, so you think you could, 50, if we were limited to 50, you could deal with that in 2 services?
Yes, we're hopefully, you know, if everybody decided to come, then
Yeah.
we'd have to look at some
Exactly.
other areas, but
Okay. Mark, thank you for sharing today and coming to be with us on Monday the 18th. And join us tomorrow on Tuesday the 19th as we continue this series on reopening.
thank you, Perry.